What's going on, guys? Jacoby Kendrick here, the BJJ Realtor, coming at you with another video for you. Just got back from IBJJF Master Worlds, or the World Master, whichever one you want to call it. And we got that gold, baby. So did my weight division and also hit up the absolute. And so I just want to talk to you guys about that. Had something happen to me that has not happened before. Was choked out, took a nap on the mats. And so we're going to be talking about that and kind of my thoughts and how things went throughout the whole tournament. So that's what we're going to get to. But before we get to that, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead down below and click that subscribe button so you can get notified whenever new updates come out, or whenever we just have new content coming out. Starting to upload here very regularly, and so you don't want to miss out on anything. Now, but let's get to it. So like I said, this week we had Master Worlds. Didn't know, normally Master Worlds is in August. It is now December. Crazy 2020 going on. IBJJF had a lot of the major tournaments here towards the end of the year, which I am very grateful for. They all came at once, but I'm really proud, and I'm grateful that they decided to go ahead and do those things for us, to be able to compete and get, show off basically what we've been training for all year, even though training has been a little bit different this year. So it was really good to get out there. Still had some really good competition out there, and it was really good. So leading up to this whole thing, we had PANS, which Pan American Championship about 2 months ago. Then we had American Nationals last month, which I got double silver at PANS, double gold at American Nationals, and now we have Worlds, Master Worlds coming up for the Masters here. And so in my weight division, we had 12 individuals that were in my weight division. I was the number 2 seed in my bracket, and the number 1 seed is a guy that I lost to at Oklahoma City Open, and also who I lost to in PANS in the super heavyweight division. So I was looking forward to doing that. I'm also going to put a little bit of we'll put the videos in here to some of the fights as well. So I had my first match. The tournament was on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I went on a Thursday. I went on Friday. I flew in on Thursday, fought on Saturday, fought on Friday, and flew out early Saturday morning. So the day of the tournament, getting ready for my matches. I had one match against a guy that I had no clue who he was. He did a pretty good job of on the feet with the stand-up. Didn't allow me to take him down, so I ended up having to pull guard, working on the butterfly sweep from my pull that I've been working on for the last 6 months. It went well getting him down, but he actually crossed his feet, did something really weird with his feet whenever I went to pull guard, and I didn't end up getting a hook in whenever I pulled guard. And so I came out, pulled him, swept him, came up on top, and we kind of got in this stalemate, which I'll put the video. Actually, I'm going to scoot over. I'll put the video right here. So got into this weird little stalemate, and got the sweep, and then he ended up reversing me back, and then I ended up back on bottom again, but ended up with a Kimura grip, and then he ended up popping out. And so I only got an advantage for that, and I got an advantage for my attack, and then he got an advantage for attacking, actually almost passing my guard, And so after that, he ended up trying to say a Nagi takedown, which didn't result. It was really, I defended it a little bit, but it wasn't, he didn't really attack it very well, and so I ended up taking his back on that match. So I ended up winning the match 4-0. I think I had 2 advantages, he had 1 advantage. Now the next match is pretty wild. against a guy, I think he was from North Carolina. We get into the match. He ends up pulling guard. I end up getting to his half guard. And one thing that I've been working on, all these guys, a lot of them, they put me in the lockdown, which is a lockdown position where whenever you go to pass guard, they basically grapevine your leg and you can't move around. So we're basically in half guard. He's got me in lockdown for extended amount of time, and then he ends up getting me in an Ezekiel choke, and I end up passing out. It's crazy. First time ever. So he gets me in the choke. I'm putting pressure down on him. There's always pressure on your neck when you're passing. So I did not know that he had his other arm looped around the back of my neck. I thought he was just holding my gi. And so whenever he did that, I was trying to get out and couldn't get out. And he ends up actually choking me out. And so it was really crazy. It was the first time that's ever happened. I went out. When I woke up, I actually thought I won the tournament. And so I'm like laying there. I wake up. Everything's perfectly fine. I thought I won the tournament. And then when I wake up, I go, man, this tournament is taking a long time. What is going on? And then as I look, there's two, the medics are like right there in your face. And I'm like, oh, I just actually passed out. And so that was my first time to end up taking a nap. My first time ever being choked out, at least unconscious, choked out in jiu-jitsu. So it was the first time for everything. So I ended up getting third. The guy I lost to, he ended up losing to the guy who I had, was looking forward to facing. And so he got, the opponent who beat me got second, and I got third. And so, here's the picture of us up on the podium right there. And then next, so now we've got the absolute coming up. Now that I've been, I was still a little groggy, but my sensei told me that I needed to do the absolute. He's like, which the absolute division is the division where it's all of the blue belts, no matter what your weight class. And he's like, you've worked too hard to not, basically really what he was telling me is you've worked too hard not to win. And so he was like, you need to sign up for the absolute. I was thinking about doing it for sure going into the tournament. After I got choked out, that transpired, I started to have second thoughts. And part of it was because I still didn't feel mentally there, partly. And the other part was you lose a little bit of confidence, once that happens to you, you're like, well, what's going to happen next? Am I, is it going to happen again? What do I do? Do I pull? Do I try to take somebody down? Like, how do I even play now? Just because your confidence is kind of shot from, the things that has happened before. But I ended up signing up for the absolute, going through the absolute, had 3 matches in the absolute division. First match that I had, I was pretty cautious in that match. The guy, he pulled guard. It was actually pretty easy for me to pass his guard. He's a guard player. He was a really tall guy. But basically, my mindset kind of going into my matches prior is that I want to, if somebody pulls, I want to pass their guard and try to submit them. But now it literally I was a little more conservative. I wanted to just play the points, and I actually wanted to just win the match, just to get another win under my belt. And so I was able to do that, pass his guard a couple of times, and won that match. Then the second match that I had in the absolute was against the guy who I'd lost to at Pans, the guy who won our weight division, and he is actually, going into this match, he was the number 2 blue belt, Master 2 blue belt in the world. I was number 3, he was number 2. And after this tournament, he ended up being number 1, and now I am the number 2 blue belt, Master 2 blue belt. So I went against him. I had not beat him before. I came up with a really good strategy, pulled guard, went into deep half, and passed his guard from there, and actually passed his guard a couple of times. Also probably kept it a little bit conservative on this match as well, because I really wanted to win. Like, if I could submit him, I would, if the opportunity came up, but I wasn't going to overexert myself or get too far out ahead of myself, because I feel like I did that in the past, our past matches, and he kind of took advantage of it. And so just was a really good strategy. Listened to my sensei, all the coaching that I had, and it was I would say it was a pretty dominant performance on that match as well. So I was really happy about it. And to be honest, like, my tournament was actually, I was good with the tournament after that, because I'd lost to him twice. He's the number one, blue belt. That was really why I just don't like losing. And so actually beating him in that match, like, even if I lost my next match, that was just it for me. Like, it made my weekend. But so won that match. I think it was 8-3. I think is what it was. It was either 8-3 or 7-3 or something like that. So won that match there. Came up to the final match of Absolute for Master Worlds against a guy that I actually went against in Nogi at American Nationals. So I beat him at Nogi in American Nationals. He won the ultra heavy division. So I went against the super heavy champion, and now I'm going against the ultra heavyweight champion. He's a pretty good wrestler as well. So we get up, standing up, and basically we're standing, and he gives me his arm, and I wrist lock him. I wrist locked him. I can't believe it. Basically what happened is I had a flashback of one of my training partners. He wrist locked me a couple of times, and I said, his arm is in the same position my arm was in when I got wrist locked. So I'm just gonna pop this thing in here, and it worked. And so I've never done a wrist lock, never even attempted a wrist lock in a tournament. I've attempted a couple in training, but I won a world championship on a wrist lock. So my first attempt, my first submission. Also, I guess I actually did get a submission. I didn't even think about that, with a wrist lock. And when it happened, like, I absolutely could not believe that he actually tapped to it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So I got third place, Master 2, super heavy, blue belt, and then first place, world champion, Master 2, blue belt, open champ. And so as far as the points go, you actually get more points for first place in the open class than you do in your weight class. So I actually got more points for first place than I would have if I got first in my weight class. And so it was a really, really good, really good tournament, really good experience for me. Our school actually had a world championship. Somebody won gold from every belt level. So we had a purple belt, we had a blue belt, myself, a purple belt, brown belt, and a black belt win gold at Master Worlds. It's pretty awesome. So I had a good time with my teammates, and just found out a little bit about myself. That's one of the reasons why I do jiu-jitsu, is because I think it helps you overall, outside of just on the mats. Like, if you can come through adversity and one-on-one through those things, like getting tapped out, having to mentally go through that, not actually, I had two voices in my head. One telling me that I wanted to do, the absolute and continue to fight, and then the other one in my head that was like, man, why are you doing this? Why would you do this? And so just battling through that, I think, is profitable, And so anybody, if you're thinking about doing jiu-jitsu, you should definitely do it. It makes you do things and overcome little battles, sometimes that you just can't get, in normal everyday life. And so we end the 2020 season with Master Worlds, ended it as the number 2 blue belt in the world at Master 2. And so I'm looking forward to 2021. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for listening in. And if you want, we're going to have a link also to all of my matches. It'll be either here or here, and you can check them all out there. Let me know exactly what you think. Talk to you guys later.